So I want to get this off my chest because I can't sleep and I need to process. And I feel like shining a light in the dark is always the best way to find what it is that you need. Recently, I had found myself in a situation where me being me, I'm very transparent. I very much will let people know how I feel, where I stand, just so that there's no guesswork in between what's going on and what's being said. And um, my living situation within the last month has changed. And that change um, has sparked something really big. and I say that to say that it's teaching me to realize that there are people who will try to devalue you and what it is that you have to bring. One, because they don't have within themselves to give, number one. Number two, they also are critical of what it is that you have to give because in their mind, they've been taught that it's not a good thing and that having these traits and having these characteristics make you a martyr for the rest of the world. Those people have a very limited perspective. And it is the limits of that perspective that force them to want to put you in a place where they feel like you belong because you exhibit these types of traits or attributes. And it was such a slap in the face. It was such a slap in the face that the amount of anger that I feel, not necessarily towards them, the anger that I feel is in thinking that you would value what it is that you have because you don't have it. Instead of you devaluing what it is that you don't have because you feel like anybody that exhibits these things need to be taught where their place is. It was a lesson. It was so much of a lesson that it's forced me to realize that I'm ready for what comes next. And I don't care what it is, honestly. It just involves me not limiting myself by the perspective of those that don't understand. I feel that all too often I've always been misunderstood and wanted to be understood so badly that now it doesn't matter anymore. That if somebody doesn't understand me, it's not my place to stand there and be a light to show them what it is that they need to see. It is my place to go where it is that I need to go so that I can continue to shine, so that I can continue to be what makes me happy and leave the misery, because misery loves company, to where it is. It's like you are wallowing in these depths of depression and self hatred and insecurity, and you see something that doesn't exhibit any of that. And so you want to crush it with your insecurities, with your lack of depth, with your lack of understanding, because if you unload that on them, they too will feel the same way that you do. Mm-mm. We're not the same person. We were never meant to be the same person. I will always be me. You will always be you. I will always take accountability for me. Hence the reason for the transparency. Hence the reason for me understanding that in order to love myself, I have to be willing to be me. And if said person valued themselves enough, they would be able to appreciate what it is that they have. But because they don't appreciate it, it's time for me to move on to what comes next. And that can be daunting because, of course, it forces you to embrace the unknown. It forces you to accept that you don't know what's coming next, that you don't know the how. But I was reminded today of a conversation with a friend that that's where faith comes in, if you have it. And we all have it to some degree. It's just whatever it is that you choose to put your faith in. But if you can let go of the fact that you don't know what's coming next and embrace the ideology that what is coming next will be better because you are releasing that which is no longer serving you to accept what will, well, then it's going to be unfamiliar because what you've been familiar with has not been supporting you. Hence the reason why you've let it go. And trying to mold it into what it is not, well, that's just a waste of resources. And misery loves to waste resources because that's why they're miserable. So I've chosen to embrace the happiness and light that I know that I have to give. And it's a little sad. There's a little bit of grief there, knowing that I was hoping that I would be able, not me be able, but my presence itself would be enough to light the way. And now I'm realizing that my absence is going to do it a lot better than my presence.